Hey, Shalom Israel. First and foremost, we'd like to give our praises and our glory from Yahweh Bashim Yashai, Bashim Kakodash, the honors to the elders and apostles and great millstone. Shalom to the brothers in the highways and the byways, preaching and teaching this word in sincerity and in truth. This is your brother Shapal from the Jamaica camp. Right, so in this lesson, we want to go back a bit, not just go back, just to reflect a little on Cuba and Jamaica's relationship back in the time of Michael Manley. Right, now we know that government has changed, over the years. They had a 50 years relationship, which has ended because America, which is the hammer, the hurt, and the bully, right, decided that Jamaica was not to do business. Now, with Cuba. Now, Jamaica and Cuba were friends, and in the spirit, we know that because we're the Hebrew Israelites, America, well, let me just say that Cuba go back to the tribe of Manasseh, right? Jamaica, from the tribe of Benjamin. We make up the 12 tribe of Israel. So there's even a spiritual connection there. However, let me say that America is been playing the whore and the harlot, man, and in bed with Jamaica. Now, you can remember Andrew Wellness saying a time back that he is no lightweight on the world stage. And this is because he was rubbing shoulders with what you call the Bill Gates and these men. So because America is going at Cuba right now, you find out that Jamaica has been given strict orders, are being threatened, not to go the way of Cuba, and we're going to play a sequence of videos. Now, this is just for edification purposes. We don't make any money off of these videos. We just put these videos up to edify. So, fair use, let's go.
Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has called on Caribbean leaders to respond to the deepening crisis in Cuba with clarity and courage. Speaking during the opening session of the CARICOM summit in Basseterre, the outgoing CARICOM chairman underscored the urgency of the situation confronting the Cuban people, pointing to severe economic hardship, energy shortages, and escalating humanitarian strain. Now, Cuba continues to operate under comprehensive economic, financial, and commercial embargo imposed by the United States, largely restricting U.S. companies from conducting businesses in the island. U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened sanctions on countries which continue to do business with the Spanish island.
And that's the hammer there, man. Look, Jamaica and Cuba just have a long-standing relationship, right? I think Mia Motley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, I believe, came out and said, look, without the Cuban nurses, they couldn't have gotten through the pandemic. And without the Cuban nurses, Jamaica also, because it's a huge, it's a huge help to Jamaica when it comes on to medically, you know what I mean? So this is the thing now, going the way of America, which Andrew Holness really not have no choice, you know what I mean, because he's still a servant, no matter how he try to rub shoulders. Going the way of America is no, for a leader, it is not something where him can literally reject. However, him try to speak out against it, which I will play the rest of the video and show you. You know what I mean? And, there's said to be consequences, which we're further going on, but it goes to show you that there is no power, in our hands, in our might. We don't have a leader with a backbone, the white man the so-called white man is still the oppressor, and he calls the shot, man. He's running the society, the world at large. Man, there's nothing where you or anybody can do except the Lord come and take this man out of power. But watch what happen. Show you. If you think that Jamaica is a sovereign country and still free, and just watch, man.
Must address the situation in Cuba with clarity
and courage. Jamaica is sensitive to the struggles of the Cuban people. Apart from our fraternal care and solidarity with the Cuban people, it must be clear that a prolonged crisis in Cuba will not remain confined to Cuba. It will affect migration, security.
Right, because a lot of people feeling the squeeze in Cuba, you know them are going to flee. Jamaica is closer to Cuba. Jamaica, it's like Miami, right? That side of the US. You know what I mean? So, them are going to seek refuge, you know? And this is a speech when we make basically, as we're going to play it to the end, you know, where them say, oh, it will cause consequences.
Must be clear that a prolonged crisis in Cuba will not remain confined to Cuba. It will affect migration, security, and economic stability across the Caribbean basin. It is therefore important that we carefully consider this matter and take collective action.
Well, then this happened. A U.S. congressman threatened consequences against Jamaica Prime Minister for Cuban statement. Now, with all of this going on, man, look, with all of this going on, you don't know if you're next on the line because they're set to put boots on the ground in Cuba very soon. But Jamaica don't know if they're next in line because America does not have friends. Right? They only have interests. If they're interested in something in your country, then they're going to come and take it. Right? This is Ecclesiastes 13 and verse 2. It says, burden not thyself above thy power while thou livest, and make no fellowship with one that is mightier and richer than thyself. For how are great the kettle with the earthen pot together? For if the one be smitten against the other, it shall be broken. Right? And it's an analogy showing the earthen pot being the Jamaican Prime Minister. Right? And the kettle being America. You know what I mean? You have no equal connection with these men, man. First and foremost, you are an Israelite, you're a Jake, and they're Edomites. Those spirits don't agree. Secondly, if them ever have any use for you, bro, them wouldn't need Jamaica. You know what I mean? And you know what's gonna happen? It's gonna happen that when these men put the squeeze on Jamaica and certain things start to happen and your sons and daughters have to be drafted to fight in their wars, because best believe if Britain needs soldiers, Jamaica have to provide that for them. So your sons and daughters out here in Jamaica will soon be drafted for the war that is brewing. Then when all hell break loose and Jamaica start to go under, right, these men are not going to be held responsible. Right? Andrew Holness is going to be left holding the bag. You understand? And Andrew Holness now go look upon it and say, hey, look, we can't, we're being forced to do such and such. No, he's the one that is doing certain things and making it seem as if he is the one that is implementing these things. Until him can come out and say, hey, look, we have no choice. We have a gun at our head or whatever it may be. And he might go be the target of the people when everything is going down. Man. So, verse 3 said, the rich man had done wrong, but yet he entreated with all. But the poor man is wrong, he must entreat also. If thou be for his profit, he will use thee. But if thou have nothing, he will forsake thee. If thou have anything, he will live with thee. And yea, he will make thee bear, and will not be sorry for it. Right? If he have need for thee, and this is a great point, if he have need for thee, he will deceive thee and smile with thee. Right? And smile upon thee and put thee in hope. Right? He will speak fear and say, what wantest thou? You see me? So, That's the rich and the poor, man. Right? Now, I have an article here because the consequences have reached, best believe it. This is from the Jamaica Gleaner and it's dated March the 6th. Right? It's just yesterday. Yep, today. This one is for today. It says, Cuba says Jamaica yield. This is straight from Cuba. Cuba says Jamaica yield to U.S. pressure to withdraw all medical workers. So they withdraw all medical workers, and you know this is going to impact the medical field out here in Jamaica, because who is going to fill those gaps? That's the big question. Who is going to fill those gaps? Is the Cuban say it will withdraw its 277 medical professionals currently serving in Jamaica, a blow to the island which sought to cushion, if I'm pronouncing that right, cushion, it's like a cushion, the fallout for ending a 50-year cooperation program, right, that helped fill the key gaps in the health system. So Cuba also claims that Jamaica bowed to pressure from the United States, right, for the United States to terminate their program. It said Jamaica had offered to engage the workers on individual contracts until their tenure has ended. The health workers had between 4 months to 2 years left on their contract. The Gleaner understand. He said with this action, the government of Jamaica yields to the pressure of the government of the United States, right? which is not concerned, but the health needs of the Caribbean brother, said Cuba, Minister of Foreign Affairs, in social media posts from the embassy in Jamaica on Friday. Let me read it again. It's with this action, the government of Jamaica yields to the pressure of the government of the United States, which is not concerned about the health needs of the Caribbean brothers, right? Said Cuban Minister of Foreign Affairs. Yeah, and you see what really happening now, man. It make Cubans highballing Jamaica, man. You see, everything he touches, man. He try to turn it against each other, man. He come in a country and then him try to stir up certain things. This man is about the vision. You know, I would know it goes on a bigger agenda, because what they're trying to do is get rid of any what do you call it, resistance to the New World Order. And we know Cuba was a threat back in the Cold War. You know what I mean? Iran is also a threat, you know what I mean, to the New World Order. America is a threat, and that's why you see, you know, these countries going at it, man, because the elites, the banking elites, are trying to get rid of any resistance to bring forward the fourth industrial revolution, right? So it added, in response to the steps taken by the government of Jamaica, the government of Cuba has made the sovereign decision to proceed with the return of the Cuban Medical Brigade. Right? It says the program, which began in 1976, has long been a key source of doctors, nurses, and specialists in Jamaica. Cuban public health system, particularly in underserved areas, specific such as eye care. Right, and one's can go read the article for themselves, but Jamaica yield, man. And the scripture here in Ecclesiasticus 12 and verse 8 shows you, you know, wisdom when it comes on to certain relations. It says, Ecclesiasticus 8, 12 and verse 8 says, a friend cannot be known in prosperity, and an enemy cannot be hid in adversity. So a friend cannot be known in prosperous times, because in prosperous times everybody good. But once something is happening out of the norm, something drastic happen, then you're gonna know who your friends are. And now Cuba is plunged in darkness, America has locked off all oil connection to Cuba. And, when they need Jamaica the most now, you find out that Jamaica really can't do anything much because of America. So it's forcing a basically division and distrust. Saying the prosperity of a man and enemy will be grieved, but in the adversity, a friend even a friend will depart. And that's what's happening. He said, never trust thine enemy, for like iron rusted. So it's his wickedness. In this case, the enemy is America. The so-called white man at large when has that man ever shown that he is to be trusted? You see the Epstein file coming out and all of these things, man. Right? Things that this man doing is abominable. He says, though he humbleth himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou had wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. Set he not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. He said, who will pity a charmer when it is beaten with a serpent? Right? Or any such as come nigh wild beasts. And this is what Jamaica is playing with, man. Jamaica is playing a very deadly game, because when America finish with Jamaica, they're not going to have any friends left. Even though they were forced it, See, and nobody not going to pity Andrew Holness, because he's in league with America. No, not because he doesn't have any choice, but nevertheless, man. Right? It says, so no one that goeth with a sinner, saga. So no one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled with him in his sin, who will pity. Right? And that's it. He said, for a while he will abide with thee, but if thou begin to fall, he will not tarry. Saying, so when Jamaica start to fall, man, look, you're going to be on your own. Verse 16 says, our enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagine how to throw thee into a pit. Right? He said, he will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. If adversity come out upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. Right? And though he pretend to help thee, yet he shall undermine thee. He will shake his head and clap his hand and whisper much and change his countenance. Right? So, to point out verse 17, it says, if adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. There's a lot of time when certain things happen around the world and you see UN giving aid, sending their aid, and when you really check it out, it's not aid to help, man. They are there to benefit them own pockets, Some evil scheme, man. Just like in Haiti, when the earthquake shook, the Red Cross was found, basically, the Blue Cross, let me just say that, the UN were found trafficking little kids. You know what I mean? So these men have a track record, man. And Jamaica is in bed with these men. Right? But that doesn't show you how you're supposed to deal with a friend and differently from an enemy. So we like to give our praise and glory to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem Kodash. The bonus to the elders and apostles of Great Stone. Shalom to the brothers in the highways and the byways, preaching and teaching his word in sincerity and in truth. Shalom.